Good evening, everyone. On behalf of the Community Unit School District 300 Board of Education, I would like to thank you for being in attendance, both virtually and in person, for tonight's board meeting. At this time, I would like to reconvene the meeting of the Community Unit School District 300 Board of Education to order for Tuesday, February 14th, 2022. Madam Secretary, would you please take the roll?
Burkett,
Present.
Fiorentino, Lamarca, present. Scarpino,
Present.
Stevens, Thomas, Zettler.
Present.
You have 6 board members present.
Thank you. Dr. Harkin?
Yes, I would like to bring Dr. Buchanan from Eastview Elementary School to the podium to introduce her Eastview pledge leaders today. Happy Valentine's Day, kids.
Parents, if you want to get up, please take pictures and everything. This is a great thing for you. So please get up, take pictures, enjoy. Kids, make sure you smile. Okay. Go ahead.
Okay. Good evening, Dr. Harkin and members of the Board of Education. I'm Dr. Buchanan, principal at Eastview Elementary, and we are thrilled to be here with you tonight. Before you are 7 of our students that were selected by their students or by their teachers as exhibiting Eastview excellence every day. Each teacher shared a few words with me about their student, and I'd like to share them with you tonight. Lawson, and we're going to go little to big. Lawson is kind, helpful, and hardworking. He has demonstrated nothing but respect for his teachers, his peers, and himself. He takes pride in his work and understands the importance of putting forth his full effort. He's a genuine friend to his peers and brightens up our classroom every day. Camilla is kind and thoughtful. She is a great role model. She listens carefully and attempts all tasks she is given. She is well liked by her classmates. She is always showing Eastview excellence in many ways. This honor is well deserved. Jackson is a leader throughout the school day, both in the classroom and on the playground. He is kind-hearted and empathetic to all of his friends. He's a curious learner and always does his best. Matthew is a very bright young man. He is hardworking and is always trying his best. He is well liked by all of the other students and is always willing to help out. Matthew has many friends in class and exhibits Eastview excellence every day. Alyssa is a standout student. She already has what it takes to succeed in life. She works to extend her thinking and push herself to achieve her goals every day. She has a positive attitude. She's respectful. She's kind to others and sets an example to others by respecting all of the Eastview E's every day. Reese is a student that every teacher wishes they could have. She is always willing to lend a hand, whether to her peers or the staff at Eastview. Following directions, staying on tasks, ready to learn are just a few things that she excels at. She loves school and it shows in her work. I look forward to seeing her grow into an even better student and person than she already is. And last but not least, Gunnar is quite possibly the most polite young man at Eastview Elementary. He is respectful of children and adults alike and can always be found to be trusted by his teacher. Moreover, it is doubtful that anyone in our school knows more about world geography than Gunnar Kolansky. Eastview students, I'm honored to be here with you tonight. I'm proud of every one of you. Thank you for having us.
Pledge first. Yeah. Go ahead, you start.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, now you can come up.
It's my first time.
Thank you. I like your song. Parents, we are very, very proud of your kids. We really are. You are welcome to stick around for the next hour and a half or so if you want, or you can be with your kids and enjoy the evening. Happy Valentine's Day to you.
Thank you. Happy Valentine's Day.
Yes. Okay. For those who have watched our board meetings, both in person and over the internet, you will remember we have rules of decorum. These rules serve as a purpose so we as a board can have a meaningful and productive board meeting. In order for this to occur, decorum must be maintained. The following are the rules of decorum. First, there's no need for anyone to call out comments during our meeting or to raise their voices or to interrupt another speaker or presenter. We as a board will listen to you and we will be respectful. We will consider your comments, but will not dialogue or engage with speakers in this forum. Board members may choose to discuss matters brought up during public comment during board discussion. However, I need to remind everyone that this would be a board discussion and the board will not dialogue or engage with anyone other than the superintendent and other board members. I ask you to please be respectful, civil, and courteous during our meeting. Second, if a person chooses to be disruptive, I will gavel the person and ask them to please stop their disruptive behavior. Additionally, our district safety officer or his agent may warn them that if they choose to continue their disruptive behavior, additional consequences will be forthcoming. Third, if a person chooses to continue to be disruptive and not follow the rules, they will be removed from our meeting. This action is a direct result of the person's choice to be disruptive. Fourth, we as a board will respectfully listen to each speaker. Just because we didn't vote the way some wanted us to does not mean we didn't listen or take into consideration what you had to say. Remember, we all learn differently. Some of us take notes during presentations and therefore take our eyes off the speaker. It doesn't mean we are not listening. Fifth, in our effort to accommodate the ability for more seating in our boardroom, we respectfully request that the audience remain in their seats throughout the duration of this meeting, with the exception of using the restroom or speaking at the podium. And finally, I want to thank you in advance for your cooperation. The board and I look forward to a meaningful and productive meeting. We have adjusted the agenda. There will not be a need for a second closed session. So there will not be a second closed session. With that change, do I have a motion to approve the amended agenda?
Second.
Madam Secretary, would you please take the roll?
Zettler,
Aye.
Thomas,
Aye.
Stevens,
Aye.
Scarpino,
Aye.
Lamarca, aye, and Burkett.
Aye.
Motion passes 6-0.
Thank you. For public participation, we have had one person sign up for public participation. Please note that the Open Meetings Act provides any person the opportunity to address the board under the adopted public participation policy. That being said, the board would like to advise the public that we will not consider statements read during the public participation that are not authored by the reader to be credible unless the board has previously received the statement in writing from the author. Additionally, the author should indicate that he or she has granted the public participant the authority to read the statement on his or her behalf. For public participation, I will call the individual up to the podium. Please state your name and your relationship to the district and limit your comments to 3 minutes. Please note the following. Each speaker has been provided with the guidelines for public participation. Minors need to be accompanied by their parents or guardians. The board will consider your comments, but will not dialogue or engage with speakers in this forum. Questions raised may be assigned to the appropriate individual by the superintendent, and the superintendent may reach out to the speaker and give them relevant information or to ask for additional information. This is done to make sure the board has all the information needed to properly address the speaker's concerns. Charges, complaints, or challenges against staff members of the district will not be heard in open meetings and should be made in writing to the board and superintendent. We also ask that speakers refrain from personally attacking district staff or members of the board. Please note that the Open Meetings Act provides any person the opportunity to address the board under the adopted public participation policy. That being said, the board would like to advise the public the following. Pursuant to Board Policy 2:105, Ethics and Gift Ban, and Illinois Election Code, Section 9-25.1, district property or resources cannot be used in connection with any prohibited political activity, including urging any elector to vote for or against any candidate or proposition. Speakers may not engage in electioneering during public comment and while on district property. If a public participation participant chooses to violate the Illinois Election Code, Section 9-25.1, a warning will be issued, and any subsequent violation will be submitted to the state's attorney for review and consideration of initiating criminal charges against the speaker for violating applicable law. We ask each participant to be respectful to all individuals who have signed up to speak and adhere to the allotted time limit. We also ask that speakers conduct themselves in a civil and courteous manner and refrain from trying to engage members of the board in dialogue during public participation. Failure to abide by board time rules or those found out of order by the board may lead to exclusion from the meeting to be fair to all participants. Pursuant to board policy, this evening's participants must limit their comments to 3 minutes. We want to thank you in advance for your cooperation and your understanding. Our first speaker this evening is Connie Kane for 3 minutes.
I am Connie Kane. I'm a certified public accountant, and I'm a resident in the district. Previously, the school board explained that an increase in the levy is not a tax increase. However, I believe the school board is wrong. An increase in the levy is obviously a tax increase. My suggestion is a better approach would be to provide an explanation to the public as to why no other viable options exist to avoid the increase in the levy. Levy increases should be the last resort for the board because property taxes are already too high. However, I do agree with the board that TIF districts have been abused in Illinois. TIF districts lack transparency and divert money from public institutions like the school districts. TIF districts should only be used in blighted areas. However, they have been abused and used in prosperous areas, and I believe that the practice is wrong. Thank you.
Thank you.
Dr. Scarpino, may I ask
Yes.
Dr. Harkin?
Yes, sir.
I am correct, am I not, that our actual tax levy has gone down 7 to 8 years in a row?
Our tax rate has gone down for the
Right.
last 7 or 8 years. That's
And when we
correct.
vote on the levy, that's only done because all of our approvals don't sync with when taxes actually get set. And we have to set it high, knowing that we won't get what we for.
Correct. The property tax extension limitation law requires a process
But our
that limits
actual
it.
tax rate has gone down 7 years in a row.
That is
Thank you.
correct.
Thank you. Any other board members have any questions for the superintendent? No? Okay, item number 7, recognition. Superintendent Harkin.
It is a very exciting night. I'd like to ask Dr. Chris Testoni to come stand up in front. We harass our new people that are coming to the district and make you, yeah, you can right up in front, because I'm going to say some really nice things about you.
In the middle,
And I
Chris.
do want to.
In the middle, Chris.
I do want to acknowledge that Dr. Testoni's father,
them, face
Angelo Testoni, is here. His wife, Angie Testoni, and his beautiful little daughter, Juliana, is here as well, too. So thank you for being here tonight. So I'm excited to announce that we are recommending, and you hopefully will be approving later on in the agenda, Dr. Chris Testoni to be our next Jacobs High School principal. Just to give you a little background on Dr. Testoni. He graduated from Eastern Illinois University, where he majored in English. Since his undergrad, he has received a master's in educational leadership from Northern Illinois and also has a doctorate from Aurora University just this last fall. Chris began his teaching career teaching both English and driver's ed in Hoffman Estates and Crystal Lake. Shortly after completing his master's degree with NIU, he began a career in administration by assuming the role of an assistant principal, Dundee Middle School. So he was assistant. I believe you were there when my kids were there. So right here at District 300. Chris advanced to his first principal role in District 301, Burlington School District, at Prairie Knolls Middle School in 2013. We're just 2 short years later, he moved to Central High School in the same district. He has been the principal of Central High School for the last 8 years, during which he led one of the most rapidly growing high schools in Kane County, with an enrollment increase by roughly 38% during that time. Just as a reminder, we went through an extensive process to vet our candidates. Chris made it through. He had a lot of very outstanding candidates for this position. We have outstanding schools in all of our high schools, and Jacobs is one of them. So we are excited to see Chris return back to District 300 in the role of Jacobs High School. Parents, I heard Dad has been a big influence on his life, definitely appreciates his family, very much so. So really grateful to see. We had a really wonderful conversation when we interviewed, and really it speaks to the testimony of the person that we have will be the next Jacobs High School principal. And I'm just thrilled to have you be joining our ranks and look forward to you being here as soon as we possibly can get you. But congratulations. So I just want to introduce you.
Welcome, congratulations.
Thank you for sitting around. You're welcome. So thank you for being here tonight. We're really happy to have him, so thank you.
Testoni family, he's fantastic. I have known him. I've worked with him. He's going to be great. I'm very proud of him. I really am. Outstanding.
All right. And we say the same thing to you. This is a long board meeting, so if, I know you've got a little one here, you're more than welcome to stay. We're going to go through our strategic plan tonight, but we absolutely understand. I know you're double dutying it, so thank you for being here.
Thank you.
All right. All right. All right. So just 2 staff recognition updates for this month that we want to call out. So on February 6th, it is school counselor appreciation, and we celebrated our amazing school counselors for their hard work and dedication. Our District 300 school counselors provide expertise and resources to advance our students' educational, personal, and social growth. They are actively engaged in helping students examine their abilities, strengths, interests, and talents. They guide our students through major life decisions, including college and career exploration, and they work to remove barriers to learning by addressing any student's academic concerns. They assist our students in establishing positive relationship with their peers. They help them stay motivated to complete their work, and teach them to advocate for themselves. And these are really critical positions throughout our school district. So on behalf of District 300, I'd like to thank all of our counselors for playing an integral role in the success of our students. And then the other group that we'll be recognizing tomorrow, these aren't direct District 300 employees, but one integral position for the district is our school resource officers. So tomorrow is February 15th. The District 300 will celebrate our school resource officers, also known as SROs. SROs are our neighborhood law enforcement officers trained to work with our youth. We recognize our SROs as they provide an opportunity for our schools and communities to acknowledge their contribution. These individuals work closely with the district and building administration to keep our students and schools safe. They also bridge a gap between youth and law enforcement, consistently fostering positive relationships. In addition, SROs are a valuable resource to our school staff, often assisting with specific student issues. These individuals advance our district's core values related to the community by maintaining a physically safe environment where all individuals feel a sense of belonging. So on behalf of District 300, I want to extend my gratitude to our dedicated school resource officers.
Board announcements, good news. Board members?
Language arts classes celebrate iReady growth at Dundee Middle School. Dundee Middle School recently hosted 2 celebrations for students who achieved significant growth on the iReady Winter Diagnostic Test. Regular, accelerated, and reading intervention classes with language arts teacher Miss Shannon Lesko were encouraged to do their best on the iReady Winter Diagnostic via 2 celebrations. First, a bonfire that included s'mores and hot cocoa, and second, a party themed after the Festivus holiday featured in the television series Seinfeld. All classes earned a celebration, with Ms. Lesko reporting that the accelerated classes averaged 200% growth. Ms. Lesko credited school psychologist Ms. Sandy Carosa for her assistance in developing successful celebration programs. Congratulations to Ms. Lesko's students for achieving phenomenal iReady growth.
Several Hampshire high school students have earned National Metalworking Certification. 8 to be specific, Hampshire high school students recently earned certification from the National Institute of Metalworking Skills. This certification verifies proficiency in specific metalworking knowledge and abilities, provided certified individuals with an advantage over non-certified individuals when seeking employment, particularly in the field of manufacturing. The students receiving this National Institute for Metalworking Skills certification are Tyler Holton, Brody Jerzik, Xander Lemke, Brady Murdoch, Joe Perry, Declan Seatman, Landon Tackett Irwin, and Lucas Weckerlin. District 300 congratulates these 8 Hampshire high school students for earning this National Institute for Metalworking Skills certification and further exemplifies our push that not every child needs to go to college.
District 300 cheerleading teams compete at state. The cheerleading teams from Dundee Crown, Hampshire, and Jacobs High Schools competed at state earlier this month after taking the top 3 spots in their division at Belvedere North Sectional. In the preliminary round of the state competition, Jacobs placed 8th in the large divisions with a score of 91.07. Dundee Crown followed in 9th with a score of 91, and Hampshire placed 12th with a score of 88.93. Advancing to the final round were Dundee Crown and Jacobs, which placed 8th and 9th, respectively, earning scores of 90.9070, 89.13. Congratulations to Dundee Crown, Hampshire, and Jacobs for high schools cheer teams for advancing to the state competition. Jacobs High School varsity dance team experienced its first trip to national event. Earlier this month, the Jacobs High School varsity dance team competed in the UDA National Dance Team Championship in Orlando, Florida. Competing in the large jazz division, the team placed 9th, missing finals by only half a point. Jacobs High School's Athletic Boosters Club board member Aaron Nisi stated, "The dancers did an incredible job considering the level of talent at nationals. Many of these athletes will go on to try out for college teams in the near future, and this trip allowed them to showcase their skills in front of many collegiate coaches and recruitment staff. The varsity dance team is coached by Allison Heckman with assistance from Alexis Madison. Congratulations to the Jacobs High School varsity dance team for competing in the UDA National Dance Team Championship event."
You know, interestingly enough, my granddaughter is from Boylan Central in Rockford, and she did not make any of the finals, but I got to see that dance team several times. They're very good.
Really?
Very, very good, yeah.
Item number 9, Superintendent's Report. Dr. Harkin.
Yeah, so the first item on the agenda for the superintendent's report is the school utilization and master facility plan update, and Jennifer Porter's here to provide an overview of that.
No. Try again.
Okay, there we go.
you go.
I apologize in advance. All of you are going to hear a repeat of what happened at the board finance meeting, but that is fine. It's very exciting. As presented in December, the programmatic changes occurring for the 23-24 school year are as follows. We are moving general education sections to Parkview from Lakewood and making Lakewood a dual language magnet school like Meadowdale and Gulfview. To absorb the Lakewood general education students, we are moving the Parkview preschool program to DeLacy, and this move will not only support the Lakewood dual language magnet, but it will also support the Parkview preschool program by better leveraging our related services staff for our preschool program in one building. To make room for the full-day preschool program, we are moving 2 preschool classrooms to Wright Elementary to make room for the full-day preschool program. This shift will provide 4 preschool in the western portion of the district, allowing us to serve more students. A team consisting of district and building administration has evaluated each of these buildings that are affected to ensure that we can support these changes. We have determined that DeLacy is the only facility that will need modifications. To support these programmatic changes, we are proposing the following accommodations. We have estimated the cost for renovations at $175,000. We've estimated furniture, fixtures, and equipment costs of $245,000 with a total cost of $420,000. DeLacy administration has been involved in every step to ensure that these proposed changes are meeting in alignment with the building's needs and supporting our students. To accommodate this work by August 1st, we're asking for approval to authorize the district architect to begin the design work for renovation. Also, the construction management firm to facilitate this renovation, and authorizing the purchasing department to procure the needed furniture to support the additional sections. And as well, to fund this, we're asking for authorization to be paid out of the capital project fund. I really appreciate your time tonight. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask.
Board members, any questions? No, you did. You covered this, and for mostly everyone sitting here, this is our second time we've heard it, and we asked our questions
Yeah.
at that time. Okay,
Okay.
thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, so we had, if you recall, on August 23, you adopted our strategic plan, and we had indicated that we would be coming back to provide you with an update on that plan, focusing in on how we actually will have a measurable strategic plan, as well as how will we identify the work that we will be focusing on. So since that time, the team has worked on establishing key priorities, selecting a strategic focus, creating priority tasks, developing SMART goals aligned with where we're going to focus our attention, establish KPIs to measure our progress, and to date, we have actually reviewed, just as of this last week, the work with our building principals. Just as a reminder, this was the mission statement that you adopted, which is District 300 will provide engaging and inclusive educational experiences that empower and equip all students to discover, innovate, and succeed now and in the future. Our vision statement is to empower and equip each student to reach their highest potential in their chosen pathway. As you recall, we created this tagline that helps remind us just real quick, we want to discover, we want our kids to innovate, and we want them to succeed. So we're going to go deeper on what specific work. What I will preface tonight is I'm going to go through each goal, but over the next 2 board meetings, we will go deeper and have the people that are overseeing the goals provide more in-depth on what the work will look like. But what I want to tonight is provide you the broad stroke of what that will look like. So you see it, and then the expectation is that the next 2 board meetings, now that you've had a little bit of an insight to it, you can provide us any feedback if we're not on the mark for what we're trying to do. So tonight really isn't going to necessarily, unless you say we're really off the mark, really tonight is just the ability to just drip on you what we're initially doing, but a deeper dive in goal 1 and 2 at the next board meeting, and 3, 4, and 5 at the board meeting in March. So just want to set that stage. I also want to talk about what our key terminology is. We have been working with the Consortium for Catalyst for Educational Change so that we can really drive and develop a strategic plan that really will translate to how we can improve our students' educational experience here at District 300. We really struggled with the terminology. And again, as we're trying to create a 5-year strategic plan, it's really important for us to identify what is this work, how are we naming it and being aligned so that we all understand for the next 5 years, this is the work that we're going to do. So I do want to walk you through what these words mean, because in the subsequent slides, I'll be talking about by each goal area, what the focuses are. So the goal, if you remember, we have high-level goals. We talked about, sometimes it's really to say, okay, those are goals. We wanted goals to live for 5 years, but that really is, how does that translate into the classroom? So we have created for each goal, and we're really focusing on the work from now until the end of June 30th of 2024, what are the key priorities we want to work on for that goal with a laser focus. This is what we're doing, this is what we're committed to. And hopefully after you see them, it'll make sense as we start walking through what we've identified as our key priorities. Objectives are the how we will achieve our key priority, the work that we will be doing. And the strategies are then the high-level steps. What is that work? How will we step through it? Because for some of our key priorities, we do have multiple strategies that we actually will be working on to achieve that priority. And then the priority tasks are the metrics. How will we measure to ensure we achieve our objective? That we can come back to you and say, how did this actually make a difference in our kids' lives? And then the action plan will be the detailed work plan for how we will achieve our objectives, which will be multiple steps of how we will put timelines into place as to how the team will actually move forward with an idea into how it will translate all the way, hopefully, to the classroom level. So tonight I'm here just to focus on the key priorities, strategic focus, and priority tasks that will be planned to be completed by June 30th of 2024. One thing I would say to you, just please note, though, that we already have begun working on some of this work. So don't think we've been waiting to this point to say, okay, we're going to start working on how we want to change what's happening in our classrooms. We've already begun some of this work, but we will refine it and make sure we're measuring it appropriately. Make sense? All right. So goal 1, again, this was presented the last time, develop the whole child. As I indicated, what does develop the whole child mean? Yes, ensure students are well-rounded by providing access to resources beyond academics. So we've narrowed down for the next, through June 30th of 2024, that we want to improve student engagement and belonging and improve building safety and security. So that's our drill down to what does it mean to develop the whole child. We want to focus on our kids feeling like they belong to our school and are engaged in their learning, and we want to make sure that they are doing that in a safe environment. Our strategic focus is strengthening our multi-tiered behavior systems of support to improve the student and staff relationship and belonging. We also want to explore and develop ways to evaluate and monitor student, staff, and cultural proficiency. And we want to strengthen our safety trainings and processes. Key priorities are new. strategic focuses were things that we had last time. So we are incorporating the work that we did approve as the last iteration of this strategic plan that was presented. And so we're merging the two. But the focus is how do we get our kids engaged in their learning, feel like they belong, and make sure they feel safe. The priority task, what we're going to be measuring, what we're working on is first, we want to decrease the number of chronically absent students. Again, we'll be talking at the next board meeting on goals 1 and 2, and we'll start talking about what are some of the things we're going to aim and target to do to get at how do we decrease the number of chronically absent students. And as you recall, when we reviewed our student data, we're not where we want to be, and the team is already working on what are some of research-based activities that will help us decrease the number of chronically absent students. Then again, blending back to student engagement and belonging. We want to reduce the number of student office and office discipline referrals. We want to increase students' sense of belonging measures, and we'll talk about how we're going to measure that and what it looks like at the next meeting. We want to increase staff and student understanding of what cultural diversity means in District 300. We want to formalize the process for identifying and addressing building level safety improvements, and we really want to fine-tune our building training to reduce and improve the protective action response times. Okay, so this will be the process we follow for all of the 4 remaining goals, but again, high level, this is where we're aiming, because we want to walk out and be clear with when we're talking to our classrooms and in our buildings, this is our work. This is what's going to make a difference for our kids. And it's not 500 things. So when we worked with the Catalyst for Educational Change, they said, get narrow, go deep, don't go wide. We want to go deep, and we want to be very specific with everybody understands what we're trying to do to improve and develop the whole child. So again, goal 2 was ensure individual student growth and achievement, ensure all students have ability to access coursework that aligns with their individual strengths, interests, and needs. Pretty broad. For us, we just want to increase student academic success. That's it. And how we plan to focus on that is improve and implement Tier 1 and Tier 2 instruction with fidelity to address student learning in all classrooms. And specifically, we will be focusing on ELA, reading, and math. Doesn't mean we're going to ignore the other subjects, but our focus for ourselves right now is laser focusing in on those skill sets for our students. Yes.
Dr. Harkin, can you explain what Tier 1 and Tier 2 instruction is, please?
Absolutely. So Tier 1 instruction is the basic instruction that takes place for all of our students in the classroom. What we do is standard for how we expect a student should be able to engage with their learning. Tier 2 instruction is if we maybe need to modify a little bit in the classroom with the classroom teacher on maybe a student isn't catching on to something, but it's work that's still done in the classroom, the teacher working directly with the student one-on-one to ensure that the student is attaining the knowledge and the skills that they need based upon the standards we're trying to teach for that student. All of it done with the classroom teacher, all of it done within the classroom, not outside of the classroom.
Thank you.
And you'll see how this builds then.
I see you're also including the word reading.
We are.
Thank you
We
so
are.
much.
You're very welcome. And again, when we present the next time, we'll talk specifically on what we've already begun with the science of reading and the work in the professional development. We just had a really great session last week. In fact, many of us have little braids on how the components of reading and how students learn and how they braid together to make sure our students can learn how to read. And we had an excellent training session with the principals, and we'll be doing that same work with our teachers moving forward.
Super.
Because it's very, very intricate on how it all weaves together. The next layer is how do we strengthen and improve the multi-tiered academic systems of support? When our students can access the general ed curriculum in their classrooms with Tier 1 and Tier 2, we do provide supports to them, Tier 3 instruction, and so we want to make sure that that part of our education system is working effectively. We'll tell you what the metrics are and how we're going to measure that, but we really need that to be a strong component for our kids that can't learn the way that we want in the regular classroom, that they can access it. But our first focus in all classrooms, we really want kids to learn in their traditional classroom setting. And we also want to make sure, because again, this is what we're going to focus on for the next year and a half, we also want to make sure that we are trying to make sure rigor's out there and opportunity and advanced coursework is taking place. For us specifically, for that area, we want to strengthen our early college experiences and credit options. As you recall, Joe Sosowski is already working on how we're strengthening our CTE and pathway programs, so we'll be building upon this. So I'm really excited about that work, but again, narrowly focused. Let's put our eggs into that basket and make sure we're doing that with real fidelity for real opportunities for our students. Metalworking, absolutely. We've got excellent programs out there, and how do we then make sure if kids don't want to go on to college that they can get the certifications that they can get from, or we put them in the work-based learning programs and all the various facets of what we should be providing our students in those courses so that they can leave District 300 with the skills. And it's really exciting because I know we're right where we need to be to continue moving that forward. So for this one, priority task, we want to increase the percentage of students proficient on their ELA reading and math state test scores, and we're going to do that through targeted professional development, refining our district assessment system, and implementing comprehensive data meetings. So that is the work that we're going to focus on as the tools and resources to actually increase our students' percentage of proficiency on math and reading. We also want to increase our ELA reading and math state test growth percentiles, again, aligned to the same work, but we want to focus on growth and we want to focus on proficiency because we don't want any student lost in the process. Growth is equally as important for all of our students. Absolutely want them to attain, but in order for us to close the achievement gap, we need to get our growth percentiles up so we can start closing the achievement gap and getting that percentile up for our students meeting and achieving at a higher level.
The data meetings, those are being implemented at each school, aren't they?
They are.
And can you just explain about the data meetings, please?
Absolutely. So, so under the leadership of Patty Schmidt, we have reinstituted data meetings. Our assessment platform that we use with our K-8 students is iReady, and we do our benchmarking for fall, winter, and spring, where we assess where students are at in comparison to their peers nationally. We presented that data to you previously. They just reviewed their winter benchmarking data, really saw some great gains, but it gives them an opportunity to look at individual students, cohorts of students, get together with their colleagues at the same grade level and talk about, in our PLC models, our professional learning community model, on what are you doing in your classroom because this student isn't hitting the mark on certain things. Dr. Smith has been working diligently as well too, where we've seen some gaps in our current instruction on things such as phonics and those pieces, and has been providing resources and tools to provide. We did see in the classrooms where some of them are already using that tool to identify where maybe we've got some phonological, I don't know which word it would be, gaps for our students. So ultimately what we did is we established where each grade level gets together, looks at their data, works with our coaches on the math and ELA side, and works with them. It's not a, you know, we're failing kids. It's about how we're going to support kids, support them, and continue to improve, because we know that with the various challenges that we've experienced over the last couple years, our kids, you know, need that focus, and they've gone extremely well, and everybody's really thrilled to have those data meetings back.
Thank you.
Again, for the Tier 3 supports, one of the things we want to really focus on there is making sure that students are attending our Tier 3. It's really hard to learn, and it ties well. We've really tried to overlap some of the work between the goals. We talk about managing student attendance of students that are behind is also impacting their access to the Tier 3 of additional supports for them. To help get them caught up where we need to catch them up. So we're going to focus on how we make sure our kids are actually getting the Tier 3 supports. And then again, we want to improve our student participation in our career, college, and advanced credit coursework. And we want to make sure that's inclusive of all student groups. One thing I would say to you is we did not explicitly call out PLCs. We do not explicitly call out equity. We do not explicitly call out collaboration, but those were my three big rocks. You will see equity, PLC work, collaboration woven into all of this, but not explicit because it has to be our way of work. It shouldn't be something that we're doing in isolation. So just want to also throw that out there, that all of this is woven together with those pillars, which we think are really essential for our long-term success.
What is nice to see as a board is we are not only preparing kids and offering kids coursework in reading, math, science, etc., but as Mr. Stevens pointed out earlier, not everyone is going to go on to college. That's just a fact of life. And our district provides countless opportunities for kids to participate in various career opportunities. And I know this board is extremely proud of that. We've encouraged that. And so I want the parents to understand this does not happen in all school districts. It doesn't. But it's happening here, and I think that's a credit to our district.
We had our work-based learning where we're trying to integrate and work with our local businesses recently, probably back in December. And one of the follow-ups was we met with the villages about emergency management systems and how can we partner with them. And so just this past week, we were meeting with how do we fill that gap and provide that opportunity for our students. It's a challenge. It's not an easy system because there aren't structures in place, but we were actively following up and meeting with those groups to make sure that we can provide the students, the adults that will funnel into those very important pieces of our society and jobs. So great work. And like I said, so just, there is work going on with all this, and we really look forward to just continuing to build upon it. Develop great staff and leaders. Certainly we know that ultimately our classroom teachers, our staff that work with our teachers, everyone's important to make sure that ultimately how we're going to instruct students operates in a way that gets us to that outcome of the previous two goals. Our focus here is we really need to attain and retain highly qualified, diverse staff. So we're going to increase our strategic priorities. We're really focusing on how can we attract and retain highly qualified, diverse staff. And then we really want to talk about the professional growth and how we provide the right professional development for the staff that we do have to give them the tools and resources to be successful to do their job. Key priorities for this is we will develop an overall plan to attract and retain diverse, high-quality candidates. High quality is important as well, too. We just don't want warm bodies. We are going to institutionalize our staff morale work as a means to identify opportunities to address staff issues and improve organizational trust. We've committed a lot of time, and it has been a great resource for us to have that work going on and the partnership that we have with the union to really speak to staff and talk about how do we help them do their jobs better. And then we really want to focus on a comprehensive professional development plan for all staff groups. How do we make sure that the staff and employees that we do have the right training? And we've got an awesome professional development. I know we just kicked off for our DESPA staff this last week on how we're going to define and align their work and make sure that the skills and the professional development that we're trying to provide to them are aligned with where their deficits are versus giving a vanilla that trying to provide professional development to everybody. That's going to be a big undertaking, and it will be really pay off dividends when we do that effectively. And I really look forward to the team presenting to you on how we're going to get there. Goal 4 is engaging all stakeholders. We know that that is critical. We've known that that's a big focus, and we have kicked things off, such as reinstituting our realtors, faith-based, working with our villages and our PTOs, the stakeholder groups, our parent advisory council, all the various councils that we have out there. We've already begun this work. Where we want to focus on this is how do we strengthen the relationships with our internal and external stakeholders, and where we want to focus in on two-way communication efforts, how we can enhance stakeholders' knowledge of district and school information, how do they understand what we're doing as a district, and how do we make that more readily accessible so that as you've got a student that's progressing through District 300, you know what that looks like and what's next on the horizon for your student, and we have that information, and it's not something that you're just aimlessly walking through trying to figure out how you're going to get your kid through our system. And we really want to improve the effectiveness of our communication systems, plans, and processes. So what does that mean? We are just in the beginning stages of a new way to provide an opportunity for stakeholders to give us inquiries and figure out a way how we can turn that around faster. So when we present on this at this board meeting in March, we'll talk about what that looks like. And we actually probably will have launched the first phase of that. It will be a dynamic tool on our district website that makes it make it easier, and it will be a really effective way for us to monitor how quickly are we responding to them, and then what's the satisfaction rate on people's feeling that the stakeholder inquiry process is working. And then again, we're talking about a timeline, a calendar that's vertical and horizontal, that's comprehensive, so that when we do registrations, when we have kindergarten open house, all of that in those key events, there's a document our parents can turn to that's easy for them to look at. And we really believe that that investment really allows for our parents to be more engaged because they will have that information available to them. So, all right. And then the last one that's always as important as the others, but I'm always just grateful now that, you know, we've gotten ourselves into a much healthier financial state, but certainly we want to make sure we're using district resources equitably and efficiently. Two areas that we want to focus on for this one is, one, we want to prioritize district spending to ensure an educational return on investment. We also want to ensure that our students have access to an optimal learning environment. The areas align our district revenue spending to our budget strategic goals, ensure that we've got quality and efficient district technology, and we want to strengthen our district-wide programs and resources through an efficiency lens. Where we're going to focus, and again, this goes back to some of the previous goals. For the first, we talked about this EROI, educational return on investment. One of the things that we will look at, and hopefully we can use this then as a tool going forward, is how do we maximize district-wide professional development? We spend a lot of money on professional development. We have 6 institute days. We have coaches that support our teachers. And what we want to do is make sure the model that we're using for that really is yielding that. We are, back to the previous slide, or 3 slides ago, 2 goals ago, that, you know, are we providing the professional development, and is it being used in a way that really does improve our workforce to make sure that we've got the best of the best in front of our kids? We want to take that same EROI process also to enhance and improve the effectiveness of technology tools and resources. We're at the end of the life of our smart boards in our classrooms. Is that returning the educational return on investment, and is that a tool and a resource, or is there a more updated tool we should be using, or should we be investing professional development with our staff to use that as an engagement piece to make sure our students are engaged? So again, there's a lot of overlap, but we really want to go through a process that says, okay, how much are we spending on this? And can we figure out a way to determine how that's impacting student outcomes and student educational experiences? And is that investment truly the best benefit for our students and our staff? And then the last thing is, we talked about it earlier, we will be going through a comprehensive district master facility plan that will incorporate in basic maintenance, capacity, safety, energy efficiency, and programmatic needs. So, again, indicated to you, we will be coming back to you. Certainly, I can answer any other questions you might have tonight, but you'll have an opportunity to review this data in more depth at the next upcoming board meeting. So the plan is, we got feedback from the principals. We've already incorporated the feedback they gave us into what's in front of you tonight. Tonight, we're providing you with priorities, strategic focus, and priority task. We will meet with our central office administrators on February 27th. Come back at the 2 board meetings, 28th and 3/21, get your feedback. We will get feedback from the Parent Advisory Council on March 22nd, and we will begin our formal work and finalize our action plans to start implementing our priority tasks. But again, please know we are working and doing work in the meantime, but this will just formalize. And then the plan would be is we will create a dashboard on the district website, and next week we'll share with you what are the actual measures we're trying to move the needle on, and that we will do quarterly progress monitoring on how we're making progress on those actual key performance indicators and SMART goals.
Board members, any questions, comments? Very, very good.
Okay. Awesome. Okay.
Okay, thank you. Item number 10 are the items for discussion. I will read each item individually to allow for any discussion. As a note to those in attendance, both virtually and in person, some of these items have been vetted through either the Finance Committee or the Construction Facilities Oversight Committee, CFOC, which is why there may not be a need for a new discussion. Item 10.1, Board Meeting Minutes. 10.2, Disposal Items. 10.3, Donation Report. 10.4, Treasurer's Report. 10.5, Fuel and Lubricants Bid. 10.6, Playground and Decorative Mulch Bid. 10.7, Transportation Management Services Bid. 10.8, Capital Projects, DeLacy Education Center Building Renovations. 10.9, Auditorium Sound and Lighting Professional Services Contract, CMS, DCHS, HHS, and JHS. 10.10, Board Policy Updates. 10.11, Freedom of Information Act Report. Item number 11, the consent items. Do I have a motion to approve the consent items?
So moved.
Madam Secretary, would you please take the roll?
Zeller,
Aye.
Stevens, Burkett,
Aye.
Lamarca, aye. Thomas, Scarpino.
Aye.
Motion passes 6-0.
Thank you. Item number 12, roll call action items. Student discipline case number 4. Motion to expel student number 4 for the remainder of the 2022-2023 school year, the summer of 2023, and through semester 1 of the 2023-2024 school year. It is recommended the student is expelled for violation of Board Policy 7:190, specifically disobeying rules of student conduct or directives from staff members or school officials, engaging in any activity on or off campus that interferes with, disrupts, or adversely affects the school environment, school operations, or an educational function, including but not limited to conduct that may reasonably be considered to be a threat or an attempted intimidation of a staff member, or B, endanger the health or safety of students, staff, or school property. Upon return, the student will be administratively placed accordingly. Do I have a motion to expel student number 4?
So moved.
Second.
Madam Secretary, would you please take the roll?
Zeller,
Aye.
Burkett,
Aye.
Scarpino,
Aye.
Thomas,
Aye.
Stevens, Lamarca, aye. Motion passes 6-0.
Thank you. Item number 13, board discussion. Any updates regarding the board committees?
Our next combined meeting of Finance and CFOC is Monday, March 13th, 4:30. And why is it on a Monday? Okay, good. Thank you.
Okay. Any board discussion at all?
I have something I'd like to say. I know we all know about the shootings that happened at MSU yesterday, and I was watching the news this morning, and as I normally do at 4 o'clock in the morning, but but they had a woman on, a young woman on, who was a survivor yesterday, and turns out she was also a survivor of Sandy Hook. And the fact that we now are having kids that are not only surviving one god-awful shooting, but also now surviving more than one, to me is just another step to where are we going to get to the point where we're going to value our children over where we're going to value our guns. And I just had to say something about it today because that has been haunting me all day, and it'll probably haunt me the rest of the week. But the fact that there's a young woman in college now, and her parents got her to this spot after Sandy Hook and sent her away to college, and it's another milestone, and she has to go through the same type of thing she went through when she was a baby. It's heartbreaking. So that's all I wanted to say.
Any other board members have anything?
Yeah, I wanted to bring up, I know we got a little bit of an update as a board on AI, but I wanted to just bring up that, this is something that everyone's becoming much more aware of. And I'd hope that maybe at some point we could do some kind of reach out to parents and students to educate them a bit more on how serious that's going to be if people take advantage of that in their academics. Because it just seems like it's all anybody's talking about right now is ChatGPT and ways to, to cheat, basically. So I think because some parents may not be as aware, it might be a good proactive step to make sure we try and do some kind of education on that topic, if possible.
As a follow-up to that, I have a question, Dr. Harkin. There have been an increased number of stories in the media and in print about AI, artificial intelligence. There have been television news stories about it. And so what steps are we as a district undertaking regarding the use of AI within our classrooms, and can students access ChatGPT on our devices?
Sure, so I'll start out, but then I will invite people up to the podium if you need more information. So
Okay.
at this point, we have restricted access to this platform to our students in our classrooms. So they do not have that ability. Now, they can go home and certainly use and take it, do that, use it. And we have just begun some of the beginning pieces of educating our staff with this piece of it, but since it is relatively new, I would just say, having now been in education now and various changes of technology over time, I think we need to be cautious about being afraid of it. It has some real possibilities. In fact, there was something John just said, because we've been talking about it now for about a month, and he had to write some code for something to fix something that was going on in technology, and he had it create it for him, and it took care of it for us, right? And I remember when the internet was coming out in 2006 or whenever that period was, and I remember that it was like, oh, we got to lock these down because kids, they're going to access the worst possible sites out there, and so I think, we certainly don't want students using it to cheat, right? We don't want it to not to be used as a way to escape what they should be doing as the real work and rigor to help them become successful adults. But I also would say it's, if you could, one of the things, I was at a conference where superintendents are, I'm using it to begin my superintendent's report, and then I'm going to tweak it and refine it because it certainly isn't going to meet everything, but it certainly can save time, right? When time is our most precious commodity. So absolutely, I think we really will be working with, how do we approach this? Certainly, we want kids to do their own work and not use this. How can we educate them? And how do we also teach teachers so that they can assess what the students turned in to see if it is AI, because you can do that as well too, and then really work towards. But we do have policy already on what cheating is, what it looks like, and what are, it's plagiarism, right, or some version of, not doing your own work. And we do already have board policy on that piece of all of it.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I have one other question. Recently, and I copied the articles because one was on December 18th and the other's on February the 3rd. And they're front page articles in the Daily Herald, that were in the Daily Herald. The first one was, teacher shortages keep growing. The next one was, unfilled classroom positions in Illinois hits 5-year high in 2022. Can you please let us know, as board members, how our hiring process is going?
Okay.
What shortages, if any, that we have, where they are occurring, are they certified, non-certified? Because this, here's I'll be more than happy to give you the 2 articles, but it's there. Is this
Sure.
unique to us? And
Sure.
and so just,
Sure, so absolutely, there's shortages in bus drivers, food service, paraprofessionals, teachers, specialty teacher positions that are plaguing us in all areas. As an example, paraprofessionals, we started out the year with 30 short paraprofessionals. We've hired 60 paraprofessionals. We're still down 30 paraprofessionals. So it's, basically people coming in and out. We did talk earlier today at the Board Finance and CFOC about bus drivers. Fortunately, we've kind of seemed like we've stabilized that workforce, but we've had challenges on food service. We are being more proactive in getting out and hiring and posting positions so that we can be out earlier. We did take the stance last year where we overstaffed our special education positions because we know certain ones, because people do change their mind, even if we've got some people secured right now for positions, that chances are we, in a district this size, we're going to lose some of them. So we tend to overstaff and to try to lessen the concerns that we have. We do have bilingual special education teachers. They're unicorns and very difficult to find. We also have difficulties in psychologists, and so we are having to look at, with this, is there other ways we are going to have to figure out if we're going to continue to be challenged with staffing in those areas? Are there more creative ways that we're going to have to look at how we can do things? So those are conversations we as a staff are already having, but to be proactive, the team is already out there putting positions out and trying to be ahead of it, because the sooner we can get somebody secured and locked down and have that process in place, the better chances would be to fill those positions.
but the individuals that we hire for the classroom instructions, they're fully certified, correct?
Yes, in every position that we have a certified person or somebody that has the right credentials to teach in that classroom. And yes, we do have that. We have, in some cases, had to probably increase our class sizes to, we're still within the parameters that is allowable by law and allowable in our contract, but our preference would potentially be to have smaller class sizes, especially in some of our special education. So we have had to be creative, but in every situation, yes, we have a certified staff member that has the right credentials to be doing the work that they need to do. And we've been very grateful for staff members that have taken on extra loads at different times, because we also have some situations where we've had psychologists that have stepped up, specifically at DeLacy, where we are down one psychologist, and so she's taken on extra work. So we have the right certified doing it, but we have a lot of very great people that are out there helping us. It is taking its toll on some of our staff members, but absolutely, fortunately, we have not had a problem where we don't have a certified person doing the work that we need them to do.
Thank you. Any other board members have anything?
I have a question on that topic. How, since we've switched how we do it, are our subs situations?
We just had a conversation. Now, we put stress on the system now that we've had these data meetings, because we are slowly incorporating some of the things we told our billings they couldn't do. We have some unique anomalies going out there. It felt like it was getting better, but we just talked about it today, and we have to dig back in, and I've asked to have a meeting with that group to really talk about how are we doing with it. But it had gotten better, but again, I think we're now also starting to reinstitute some of the things we did previously, and it's putting some stress on our systems when we take a group of teachers out of a classroom and we're doing it at multiple buildings. But it did get better for a bit, but it seems like it's kind of, now we also are starting to see a lot of people getting sick again, and so I don't know where we're at with staff absences as well too, with just illnesses as well. So I think, that might be complicating it as well too. But we certainly can give you an update on that, and I'm curious about it too, because mine's more anecdotal, not true facts.
Any other board members have anything? Yes, Kristen?
Yeah, I had one more. As we're kind of moving out of the recovery phase and into the forward-thinking phase, I guess I'll say, several of us attended a conference in the fall, and there were some ideas that were brought up there that other school districts are doing, and I just thought it might be good to voice those across our board as something to explore, maybe if we want to look at doing some of those things as well. So the two things that I saw there were that some school boards have more committees and that we might want to look and discuss as a board. Is there a value in that? Is it redundant? You know, because certainly we don't want to just invent committees just, you know, for the sake of doing so. So I thought maybe that was something that we could see how we would facilitate that, as well as looking at possibly having a student representative on the board, non-voting, obviously, but is that something that we could look to do to increase, student voice and interaction with how all this whole system works?
What we could do, just my thoughts, I mean, board members, please. My thoughts are this would be ideal after the election, so then we know who is seated, because I don't want to start something, okay? But have a workshop, actually have a workshop like we have done, and then we can have a great discussion about this. I think that would be, I think that's wonderful suggestions.
Besides sitting at board meetings, it would be great to have, if you want to have students, to have them at the committee meetings where the real discussions take place.
Yeah, I think if we could do a workshop, then everyone could kind of have some
Okay.
time to research ideas, see what other districts are doing, and then see what might be a good fit for us. We can make our own, our own thing up that seems suited to our unique district.
Dr. Harkin, could you just check to see how many, not that we're going to do what other districts are doing, but just see how many have a student representative? I think those are two great ideas. Those are, okay. Anything else, board members? If not, do I have a motion to adjourn? Madam Secretary, would you please take the roll?
Stevens?
Aye.
Zettler?
Aye.
Lamarcus? Aye. Burkett?
Aye.
Scarpino?
Aye.
Thomas?
Aye.
Motion is adjourned.
Thank you. We're adjourned.